You getting full of ice cream yet?
Oh, yeah.
No. That'll never happen.
The Dairy Mix people are.
Rolling.
Okay. Recap.
Okay, we're going to make pistachio ice cream. I put the mix in the machine, and I've ground up a bag of wonderful pistachios. Not totally ground up. There's pieces and pieces and pieces, and then we'll pour them in. Start the machine up, and we'll add the wonderful pistachios.
Do you need extra salt with that when you make it?
What?
Do you need extra salt with that when you make it? No?
No. Okay, the wonderful pistachios are in there, and now Monin pistachio. Monin.
Is that an alcohol or a flavor?
No. It's a competitor of Tyranny,
Okay.
but I like the Monin better than the Tyranny.
Uh-huh.
Who asked that? Well, you'll be the judge of that, won't you? It's Monin. They make all the flavors that Tyranny does, but I like the Monin pistachio, and I like the Monin cookie butter. That's it.
Wow.
Now what do we do?
I love it.
Taste it.
Yeah.
I'll taste it for you.
Come on up. All right, we'll see how this tastes. Okay, we're ready to roll. Could there be anything simpler? And when you taste it, well, I hope you like it. It will be good.
So no sugar, yeah?
No, no. In my world, when you make ice cream, the less the better. When I make Oreo Crunch ice cream, I just load it with Oreos, and that's it, because that's the taste we grew up with. Same with M&Ms and Snickers, all those candy bars, just leave it. Just add in a ton of them, more than anyone else. And most of my recipes, I give in the class. I give out 100 recipes, and I would say in at least 90 of them, there are 3 ingredients or less, because that's a better ice cream.
Simple.
And it's also easier for you to adapt it. If you want more nuts, add more nuts. If you want less nuts, add less nuts. What was your question?
When you're turning on the machine and you press the start button, and then you press the compressor, so you do that as soon as after you taste it and you're ready to go. You don't do that until you taste it
Correct.
and you're ready to go.
Just a habit. He doesn't do that. But it's, well...
He meaning Steve Thompson.
But it's a habit. And I can't tell you in 14 years how many times I taste it and I go, wait a minute, and I forgot something. And rather than throw out the batch of ice cream, I always taste it. Now, Steve has a logical response to that, and his response is that when you put the compressor on, you've still got 2, 3, 4 minutes before things start happening in the cylinder. So you have plenty of time to add. I just don't, that's how I do it.
So just to follow up to your comment, you said you don't have to throw it out. So at what point, like for example, you make something, at what point, if you
throw it
forgot
out?
an ingredient, yes.
I'll give you one word. Slambuca. I made Slambuca ice cream. I love Sambuca. And I figured everyone's going to love this. Nobody loved this. It went out maybe a day later. And anytime you make an ice cream, we did it in class. If something's not great, don't forget, well, when you leave my class, you're making the world's best ice cream. So when you taste it, if it's not the world's best ice cream, throw it away. Even if you followed the recipe and everything is as you planned it, if it's not the world's best cherry vanilla, the world's best Baileys, the world's best chocolate chip, if it's not the best, throw it away.
So at any time, then you can add ingredients, is what we're saying.
Well, you mean in the machine?
Yes.
No. You can only add ingredients. If your ice cream is going to take 12 minutes, you've got 4 or 5 minutes to add stuff. Otherwise, it won't really mix thoroughly.
That was my question. Okay, great. Okay.
I have a totally different approach to making ice cream. 100% different. And mine comes from...
Same as I have a 100% different approach when I make machines.
But you don't make machines.
Ah, therein lies the point.
But I make ice cream.
No, you really don't.
Mine is a completely different approach. Mine is, I use an example, whether it works or not, of McDonald's. McDonald's to me is a lousy hamburger. Sorry, McDonald's, it's just my opinion. So is Burger King and so is Arby's and the rest of you. Compared to what I make at home, it's a lousy hamburger. But it's the same lousy hamburger in Detroit as it is in New Orleans, as it is in Moscow, as it is in Istanbul. When you go through those arches to get a lousy hamburger, you know exactly what you're going to get. And whether you go through today or 5 years from now, unless they change the formula, it will always be the same lousy hamburger. They have consistency. The truth of the matter is, people the age of who's in this room right now are going to probably have a second store, maybe a third, maybe a fourth. And a couple of notes. One, Swenson Ice Cream Parlors back in the 90s, we did 475 stores with them. And what killed Swenson was someone on the East Coast. She was a lady on radio named Joan Hamburg, and she would rate businesses and tell you about businesses. And she came on one day and told the truth. She said, the ice cream in San Francisco is so much better at Swenson's than the ice cream in DC. And forget about the Miracle Mile on Long Island. In other words, she was saying between those 3 stores, there was total inconsistency. And that killed, Swenson's. I like to put it that there's a place called in Centerville, Massachusetts, which is Cape Cod, called 4 C's Ice Cream. I love their mint chip ice cream. And we may only get up there every 3 or 4 years. But every time we go, number one, they better have that mint chip in stock because I expect it to be there. It's a standard flavor. And it's got to taste just the way my brain remembers it tasted 4 years ago. If there's a variation in it, it's going to be, what's up? You know, what'd you do? Did you try to cheapen the product? Is there new management? Something like that. It's got to be the same. The only way you can have everything the same is that recipe, once you decide it's the way you want it, and I say, if you do it mathematically, if you need this much of this to work and that to work and that to work. Once you narrow it down through, if I make 4 batches or Christy makes 4 batches of a new flavor, we'll have a recipe in 4 batches. You write it down on a 3x5 file card and you stick to it. I get people calling up, of course I'm joking, but I used to teach people how to make ice cream out in the field, and I would tell the ice cream maker with the owner standing there, I would say, owner, if this employee drops a spoon into the machine and the machine comes to a sudden halt, have the employee tell you, hey, I just broke the Emery Thompson, or I dropped a spoon in it, they didn't break it. And we'll call Emery Thompson and say, what do we do about it? We'll tell you, and we'll get it fixed. Because if the owner doesn't know, there might be something different in the machine, and the ice cream wouldn't, even with the formula, wouldn't be consistent. I then turn to the ice cream maker and say, do you want me? You're done? Okay.
When I'm done, you're done.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. We'll stop the compressor.
Now, there's good reason for doing that.
What?
There's good reason for doing that.
There is?
Yeah, otherwise, if it's still going, it's freezing to the walls.
Right. And here is the world's simplest pistachio ice cream. By the way, this flavor, we started it at the store maybe, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and it's the #1 seller in the store.
Wow.
This simple product.
Anybody allergic to nuts? Should have asked that. Nope. Okay.
Would you ever use color
No. Why?
to make it green?
No, because you shouldn't have dipping cabinets so the customer doesn't see the color.
Well, they see it as they're eating it.
And
It's bright and colorful.
no, they feel this is more natural.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Our mint chocolate chip is white. Well, the adult version is white because we make it with clear creme de menthe. Is this on?
You're doing.
Okay.
There's a company called Green Mountain Flavors in Oswego, Illinois. Stan Sitton is the president, and he makes all natural extracts and colors. It's pretty exciting to have a bright red ice cream, and the mother is saying, "Oh no, you can't have that. That's red dye 40." And the response from the owner is, "Oh no, ma'am, that's concentrated beet juice. That's the most natural thing in the world." And then she looks around and says, "Wow, if they care that much about that one flavor, what's the rest of this store like?"
Or conversely, why? Why put color into something? I mean, this is most homemade ice creams we talked about in class. Most homemade ice creams are bland, the color.
The moms that care about red dye 40 have children named Willow or Rain.
Well, that's a different story.
So why
name cross products.
put in any color? Why add anything to the ice cream?
Because it's what we expect to see out of a product like that.
Especially if you're looking at gelato display cases, they're beautiful.
I don't care. I don't care.
So, that's an idea.
I have a question.
So I gotta try that.
Oh, I'm going to make you one.
Whoops.
Yes.
So I'm sorry for asking all these
No,
questions.
we want you to ask questions.
Yes. So with the machines, I know that to make smaller batches, you put in less, but is there, because as you're trying to perfect your recipes, is there like a minimum amount you should put in a particular machine?
Yes, the CB350 you can't put in less than 3.5 quarts.
Okay.
That's the bare minimum. When you get into the bigger machines, you can do half their rated capacity. So this is a 24 quart. You can put in 10 to 12 quarts have finished ice cream. So you can make a half batch of everything. Instead of making 2 tubs on this, you can make 1 tub. That's what Jeff's been doing all day today. So that's pretty easy.
Okay.
Did you add the cherries?
What? No.
Darn, what'd I do with it?
Boy, this is good.
It's definitely strong pistachio.
To play off of Jeff's pistachio, not trying to steal his thunder, but Jell-O makes an instant pudding mix, pistachio flavored. I use this when I make pistachio ice cream, and it makes it that beautiful green that you're used to seeing. Now, it is a pudding mix. You don't add anything with it. You just put your dairy mix, you put the pudding powder packet right in there or in there. So it's going to make it a little bit more thicker than normal and kind of be on the more pudding side. Will your average consumer be able to taste the difference or the texture? No, it's just going to be very thick and very creamy. This is a Jell-O cheesecake powder, but the pistachio one, I have also done it with a dairy-free because these little mixes are dairy-free. Believe it or not, there's no dairy that is in it.
Sorry, I was saying this is great ice cream.
Yeah, you're over there talking.
Actually, I was saying I can't believe you actually made something good.
And it looks a little green from the syrup, so there's your green, Steve.
This slight, yeah.
There's a little hue of green.
Good, isn't it?
Okay. Yep.
I'll take the rest. Go ahead and put it in the freezer and pack it a little pint.
So Jeff, Lily was just It was just Ninja pistachios in a bottle of pistachio. And I saw it was Mona, not Tarani.
What?
It was Tarani. No.
No, Monin.
Mona on that one.
Yeah. It's good.
I don't think there's a simpler thing to make.
Vanilla.
It's a winner.
Not much simpler than this.
No, it isn't. It really is.
This is gonna sell.
Oh, that's good.